Masaman curry, the king of curries and the curry of kings, specifically the king of Siam, what is now known as Thailand. And today I'm making a recipe for Masaman curry as eaten in the royal palace itself. So thank you to HelloFresh for sponsoring this video as we make the Siamese king's Masaman curry, this time on Tasting History. I love Thai food. It is one of my favorite cuisines, so it's kind of weird that I haven't done any Thai food here on the channel yet. One of the reasons is because it's very hard to find old Thai recipes, especially that have been translated into English. So imagine my good luck when a few months back, a viewer named Rosalind Unibantu reached out to me with a book called Petals of the Champaka that she and her family had been working on. And basically what it is updated recipes from an ancestor of hers, Tan Puin Klip Mahiton, and she grew up in the Grand Palace during the reign of King Rama V in the late 19th century. Later she learned to cook, including many of the dishes served at the palace. Now this cookbook, which I will put a link in the description to where you can get it, are modern versions of her recipes. So they have modern ingredient quantities and words and everything, so you can actually make it at home. But since this is Tasting History, I was very fortunate that Rosalind still had her ancestors' original recipes, like this one for Masaman curry. Pound chilies, shallots, garlic, coriander seeds, and cumin together with shrimp paste, galangal, lemongrass, cardamom, cloves, and a little roasted coconut to a fine paste. Squeeze the coconut milk, separating the cream from the milk. Simmer the coconut cream until the oil separates out. Cut chicken into large pieces, pan fry in oil until golden brown. Add the curry paste and stir until fragrant. Add the coconut milk together with the roasted peanuts and cinnamon bark. Simmer until tender. Add fish sauce, sugar, tamarind juice, small shallots, bay leaf. Add 2 to 3 slices of ginger upon removing from the stove. Now this is just one variation on Masaman curry. There are many variations on this curry that change out different spices and different meats, but one thing they all have in common is they do take a little time to make, and they are very complex. They have a lot of ingredients. It's generally thought to be one of the most complex of the Thai curries. And am I up to it? Yes, I think I am, but just to be safe, last night I conserved my culinary strength by making a much simpler dish from our sponsor, HelloFresh. One thing that makes HelloFresh meals easy to make at home is that all of the ingredients are pre-portioned for you. So one of the hardest parts and the things that takes the most time in cooking is the prep work, but with HelloFresh, it's mostly already done. The ingredients are all fresh from the farm to your house in under 7 days. And with 40 weekly recipes to choose from pescatarian and vegetarian, there's always something new, plus you have options to switch out different proteins or sides to customize the recipe just for you. Last night I made the sesame soy pork bowls with sriracha mayo and crispy onions. Am I the only person who has trouble saying sriracha? I don't know. But it's delicious, so it doesn't matter. And this dish had the perfect blend of sweet and spicy that I love. So if you want to try this recipe or any of the others from HelloFresh, go to HelloFresh.com and use my code TastingHistory65 to get 65% off of your order plus free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com, TastingHistory65. So this recipe has 2 major components, and the first is the one that really gives all of the flavor to the dish, and that is to make the curry paste. So for that, what you need is 1 tablespoon of coriander seeds, 2 teaspoons of cumin seeds, 1 tablespoon grated coconut, 4 cloves, and 1 teaspoon of seeds from cardamom pods. Now these are typically going to be white cardamom or Siam cardamom, but you can use green or black cardamom, and that'll be just fine. So you put all of those into a dry pan over medium heat and toast them, keeping them moving until they're nice and fragrant, about 3 or 4 minutes, or until the coconut has turned a light brown. Then grind them into a powder and set them aside. Then take 3 tablespoons of shallot, 6 to 7 cloves of garlic, 1 tablespoon of lemongrass, and 1 tablespoon of galangal. So I've mentioned galangal here on the channel before because it was very popular in medieval European cuisine. It has since lost popularity, but only in Europe because it's still very much used in Southeast Asia. You can get dried galangal online and rehydrate it and use it for this, but if you can find fresh galangal, it is absolutely worth it. In fact, I bought mine, but we're actually growing some galangal, so next time I'll just rip it out and it's the rhizome in the base. So fresh galangal next time I make this. Lastly, you need 7 chilies. They can be dried, they can be fresh. You want to chop them up and take out all the seeds though, because this is not supposed to be very spicy. So these are not the little Thai chilies. These are different types of chilies that are much less spicy. All of these need to be roasted dry in a frying pan or over an open flame just until you get a little char. Then add them to a mortar and grind it into a paste, along with 1 teaspoon of shrimp paste. This takes a very long time and it really has to be done by hand. If you do it in a blender, it doesn't release the oils right. So you gotta do it by hand and just, takes a while. So you take the shrimp paste, you grind it with the chilies and everything, then add in the toasted spices and keep grinding until everything is as smooth as you can get. If you buy it, it's perfectly smooth. If you're grinding it yourself, it's gonna be as smooth as you can get. But that's the hard part, and now it's done. Next, you take 2 pounds or 1 kilogram of chicken or beef. She actually does mention both, and you cut these into large pieces. I don't exactly know how large pieces are, but I went with like large bite-sized pieces because that's what I've had in curries before. Also, dark meat is going to work best for this, like a leg or thigh, because it does cook for quite some time, so don't use chicken breast. Then heat a few tablespoons of coconut oil in a pan and add the meat, frying it until it starts to brown. While it does, heat a half cup of coconut cream over medium heat. Now she says to simmer this until the oil separates out, and that is a process called cracking. The oil and the solids kind of separate out and the water evaporates, and it ends up looking like oil bubbles on top of the coconut. The problem is you have to find a coconut cream that has no emulsifiers in it. If you don't have that, you can just add some coconut oil to the coconut cream, but from all of the curry aficionados that I've spoken to, it does not taste quite the same, but it is a common practice. But once it has cracked and bubbles cover the surface, add the curry paste and stir until fragrant. After a couple minutes, the curry paste should be nice and aromatic, and you can add 2 cups of coconut milk. Then bring that to a simmer and add the chicken along with a 1/4 cup of unsalted roasted peanuts and a cinnamon stick. So simmer the meat until tender, about 30 to 45 minutes, and then add 2 tablespoons of fish sauce, 3 tablespoons or 50 grams of palm sugar, 3 tablespoons of tamarind juice, a half cup of chopped shallots, and 3 bay leaves. Then simmer this for another hour on low heat. And it should darken up as it simmers. A lot of recipes for massaman curry tend to be on the lighter side, but that's because they add a lot more coconut milk or coconut cream. And one is not right, one is not wrong, it's just that they're all different and there are many, many variations on this dish. But they are all delicious and they are all complex, just like the history of massaman curry. The word massaman, like the curry itself, is not originally Thai. It actually comes from the word Mosalman, which is an old Persian word for Muslim. So massaman means Muslim curry, and originally that's who brought it, or a version of it, to the Ayutthaya kingdom, which in the 17th century ruled much of what is now Myanmar and Thailand. The capital, a city called Ayutthaya, was extremely cosmopolitan, a crossroads between the East and the West. It had traders from Japan and China and Russia, England, the Dutch, the French, the Portuguese. Everyone was there, as well as traders from Persia. They were all common guests at the palace, and they would bring ingredients from whence they came, along with new cooking methods. Many of the traders, especially the Persians, ended up settling within the city near the palace and actually gained prominent positions within the government. Most famous was the Persian Sheikh Amenkomi, who became a high-ranking official, and it's said that it was he who originally brought massaman curry to the palace and gave it to the king, but it's kind of hard to prove. What isn't hard to prove is that Persian cuisine in general did become quite popular at the palace, especially under the reign of King Narai the Great, who ruled from 1656 to 1688. When King Narai was still a boy, he used to visit the Persians regularly, and he took great pleasure in their social manners and their foods and drink. In that way, he became quite familiar with the Persian style of life. That was an account written by a Persian diplomat of the time, and we actually have to thank the accounts of travelers like him for knowing as much as we do about this period in Thai history, because a little while after this, the city of Ayutthaya was destroyed along with all of their documents about their own history. That said, they are foreign people writing about a different culture, and so we have to kind of take everything that they say with a bit of skepticism, even about the most routine things like the food that they ate. The food of the Siamese in no way resembles normal, proper foods, and the natives are not familiar with intelligent methods of preparing meals. In fact, no one in Siam really knows how to cook or eat, or even how to sit correctly at table. King Narai, having had much contact with the Persians when he was growing up, has acquired a permanent taste for our food, and every so often, according to his mood, he will make an exception and incline to eat in our style. For this reason, he has had a cook brought over from India whose sole occupation is to prepare real food for him when it is required. But since the king is not practiced in our table manners and the proper forms of society, he closed the doors of banqueting upon himself and did not make an appearance during the party. So the king didn't know the etiquette, but he knew he liked the Persian food, and it's very likely that he had a Persian-style curry that had things like sultanas and peanuts and other ingredients that were not in Siamese cooking at the time. A Muslim-style curry, a Masaman curry. Then in 1767, following several years of war, a Burmese army defeated the Siamese army. The king was killed, the documents burned, and the city of Ayutthaya was destroyed, the ruins of which are still there today. The city's population, nearly 1 million people, were displaced and had to leave, and the most wealthy and noble of the families, including those of Persian descent, ended up settling in Krung Thep, also known as Bangkok, the modern capital of Thailand. There, a new royal dynasty was founded with the crowning of King Rama I. Today, they're on King Rama X, and it is interesting because usually here in the West we would say King Rama the First and the Fifth, but over there typically it's done King Rama 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. I thought that was kind of interesting. And it's likely under King Rama I that Masaman became popular again, or continued its popularity in the royal kitchens. It was actually so popular that the king's son, the future Rama II, would actually write a poem about Masaman curry, at least in part. It was written on the occasion of a royal barge procession, but in reality it was probably written for his beloved Princess Bunrot, who was an avid cook herself. But instead of writing it directly to her, he kind of couches it in that he's writing of his love of the different foods that she would cook. Masaman curry made by my beloved is fragrant of cumin and strong spices. Any man who just tastes this curry is bound to search for her in his dreams. What's interesting is he also mentions a dish called phoi thong, or golden threads, which is the Thai variation on this Portuguese egg dish that has versions all over, including the kiren somen from Japan, which I did a video on just a couple months ago. He says, "The golden threads of the sweet egg dessert make me recall when you embroidered with golden silk." We don't write enough poetry about food these days. But Rama II absolutely did, and it's clear that he had a passion for not only Princess Bunrot, but Masaman curry. And many people who came to visit the royal palace shared this passion. It was one of the dishes mentioned in a collection of recipes in London's Magazine of Domestic Economy in 1840. After describing several basic curry powders, it says, "A Musalman curry is made in the same way, with green coriander seeds and more garlic." And that does seem to be the case, because when the first full recipes from Thailand for Masaman curry start to appear in the late 19th century, garlic and coriander feature quite prominently. But they're all very, very different recipes. There's a lot of variation. Some are cooked with duck, some beef, others chicken or lamb or goat. One even is cooked with pork lard, showing it has really strayed away from its Muslim roots. Other ingredients include sultanas and almonds and nutmeg, which is popular in Masaman curry today, and one from 1890 actually calls for the juice of sour oranges, which I thought was quite interesting. But all of them are highly spiced, complex, coconut-based curries, just like the old recipe that we are making today. So as the curry finishes up, give it a taste and add some more fish sauce or sugar or whatever you want to make it taste as you want. And then take it off the heat and add 3 slices of ginger, and then it is ready to serve. Except that really you should keep it overnight and serve it the next day, because the flavors will really develop overnight if you put it in the fridge. So yeah, either way, it's usually served with rice, but it doesn't have to be. And here we are. Massaman curry from the Royal Palace of Siam. It smells so good, but it smells really strong. The whole house just smells of massaman curry. Let's give it a go. Just this wave of flavor. I mean, wow. It's a lot of ingredients and it's a lot of work, but what a payoff. Just overwhelming. It's like I'm encapsulated in flavor. Flavor Town. It's so spiced, but it's not hot at all. The coconut comes through, but it's not coconut-y. You know, it's not like a pina colada or something. It's just so rich. And I do want to try it with some rice and kind of soak up some of the sauce and everything. But the meat is nice and tender, and the peanuts do give it a little bit of crunch. Even the ones that have been in there for a little while are still pretty firm. That's fantastic. Man, I wish it wasn't so much work. So thank you again to Rosalind and her father and her aunt who helped me so much with this video, the research, the food, everything, pronunciations. I'm going to put a link to their wonderful cookbook online and or in the description, and yeah. So try making this. It's a lot of work, but maybe find it. You know, if you want to find a different one and buy the curry paste, do that. But make a curry. It's really worth it. There are few foods that have just so much flavor. It's fantastic. And I'll see you next time on Tasting History.